I'm Finn, this is the Horn Music Studio, and this guitar needs tuning. Let's learn something about it. Just before we look at tuning the guitar, we're going to look first at something we did in lesson 2. Remember we did the single string tunes, and I know that some people kind of struggle a bit with getting the finger properly onto the string, and so sometimes you end up with the finger coming in at an angle so that it's your fingerprint is touching other strings, so that the string you play might sound okay, but the next string on and the next string and maybe the next and the next are all dead. And so when you come to playing chords, there's a lot of dead sound happening. And it's just to reiterate that we're playing right with the very tips of our fingers, in between the fingerprint and the fingernail, and keep bringing your hand round so that you can get that angle for your fingers to come right in. The fingers should be coming in from the front, not up from the side, so that they curl over, so that this joint pointing right in, so that when you're playing those single string ones, the note is being made nice and clearly without touching any of the other strings. So just keep pursuing that. If you're finding that problem, keep going with it. You'll get there, and just keep thinking, what bit of my finger am I playing with? Right, now this guitar is as out of tune as a pub piano, and it needs to be sorted out. There are several different ways that we can go about tuning a guitar. There's apps you can get, there are little gizmos that attach to guitars, there's built-in tuners, there's just tuning it to an instrument like a piano, or just doing it to itself using the frets on the guitar. We're going to look at all of those methods today. We'll start off with one of these little gizmos. So this little thing I got off eBay. I think it cost nothing. I mean, pence. I got it from, I don't know, China or something. I've checked it with other tuning things, and it works pretty well. So, you know, why not? Built-in tuners work very much the same way. They've got a little screen, and you press a little button, and you pluck the string, and you can see whether or not the string is in tune. It'll tell you if it's flat or sharp, and then you tune it accordingly. We'll go with this one on here, and hopefully we'll get a shot of this. Oh, you can forget that bit. So this type of tuner has a little clamp on it, and you just clamp those to the end of the guitar and point the little screen to your face and switch it on. And switch the wretched thing on. Yeah. Right. Okay, so it says guitar on it, so it's looking for the guitar 6 strings, and when I pluck a string it should know which string it is automatically, and it'll tell me if it needs to go higher or lower, sharper or flatter. So I'm going to pluck the string first and we'll see what it says. Well, this one's actually not too bad, just a little bit flat, but it does say it's E as a 6th string. So I'm going to pluck it, and in order to tune it to go a bit higher, I'm going to turn the tuning key anti-clockwise. I've gone a bit far, bring it back in until it looks nice and green. There it is. That's my E done. Simple as that. Now the A string, that one is flatter. So again, turning it until it goes green. There it is. The same would be true on this. You would just tune it until the thing says it's in the middle. They each have different sorts of displays. The D string next, that's a bit sharp, so bring that down. There it is. The G string. Now on this side, we turn it clockwise to go a bit sharper. And always check to see which way your tuning keys need to turn on each side, depending on how the strings have been put on. You don't want to, well, it doesn't really matter if you go in the wrong direction, you just don't go in the correct direction. Also make sure that you're tuning the correct string. A lot of strings have been broken by someone plucking, say, the G string and tightening up the B string, and suddenly the B string snaps. Because you've been tightening the wrong string. So let's check that G. That G is in tune. Up to the B string. There we go. The E string. Oh, there's some flashes when it's in tune. That's handy. And it sounds nicely in tune again. There's our E major. How's it going with that E major chord? Pretty good. A major. Good, so that's how to tune using one of these little gizmos. Let's have a look at tuning a different guitar with a different method. So this guitar here is as out of tune as school instruments, and what we're going to be doing is using an app to tune it. So this app is called Guitar Tuner. I'm sure there's other ones as well, but this is the only one I've ever used. So it's very similar to the that little tunery thing that went on the end. Again, except that this one's just picking up the sound through the phone's microphone. What I'm going to do is pluck the E string down the bottom. It's telling me it's -2, too low. And again, turning it anti-clockwise. There it is, roughly. Then the A string, a bit sharp, so turning it clock. There we go. Then the D string, a bit flat. Isn't that ba-ding? That means you got it in tune. G string a bit low again, a bit high now. Yeah. B string. And the top E string. And there's our nice sounding E major chord again. Okay, so that's how to tune it with an app. We're also going to tune it now using an instrument. Okay, so we've got a piano as our instrument for tuning from, and this is the instrument we need to tune, which is about as in tune as it was the day the charity shop rejected it. So yeah, we need to tune it up just the same way as before, but this time instead of watching a needle move, we need to use our ears. So the notes we're going to be using are E down at the bottom. That's the note. So a bit flat. And keep playing it until it sounds like you're playing the same note. It can be hard to do, but the more you do it, the more practice you have at doing it, the easier you'll find it to do. Da, da. We're almost a whole fret lower. Good. Then the D string, playing a D on the piano. So this one's sharp, somewhere in between those two notes. And again, it should sound like the same note. So being able to hear whether it's sharp or flat is quite important, so you don't end up winding it the wrong way. And the E at the top, a bit sharp that was. So let's just check them again. E at the bottom, A, a little sharp. Better. Now with these nylon strings you have on a lot of these kind of cheap classical things, they tend to go out of tune pretty quickly. It's almost a race to play something before it's out of tune. And there we have it, our E major chord, A, D, and E. Here's another guitar, and this one, this one's horrible. That's as out of tune as Great Nana's Singing. So this one, I can't even listen to it. We're going to tune this one to itself. This one's a bit more tricky because we've got one of these, so that as we tighten it up, this it's going to pull other strings out of key is, it does it with the tension. But we'll just work our way through it. So when I say to itself, I mean we're just taking that bottom string as E. Right? You could use a tuning fork to get it the right note, or if someone's passing by with a, I don't know, playing a pipe or something, a recorder, they could give you an E to start you off. But we'll just take that as being E. It might even be E, you never know. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this fret here, this is fret 5, to tune the guitar. Now this is why this note here at fret 5 is A. You remember that all of these have names at E, A, D, G, B and E at the top. Well, if we work up the frets, we come to, if we go from E, for example, E, F, G, A. So A is there. So that's the note that we want for the next string. This one up here, A, B, C, D. We want that to be the same note, and so on. The only one that's slightly different is going from the G string to the B string. To tune the B string, we will use the 4th fret on the G string. That's because the gap between the G string and the B string is 1 semitone. That's 1 fret closer than the other strings are. Okay, so these are all 5 frets apart, but the G and the B string are only 4 frets apart. That's why we do it that way. So enough of my waffling, let's give it a shot. So here is the open E, and here is fret 5. And this is what it so if we play this 2 together, you hear there's a one, 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 one sort of sound going on. You hear that kind of wobble, and we get rid of that until there is no wobble. And it just sounds like one string. It's like magic. So that's in tune with itself. That's E, A. We'll do the same with D. Oh, that's remarkably similar. I'll just knock it out of tune so you can hear again that wobbling. And you hear the wobble gets slower the closer you get, until it then sounds like the same string. Next one. Oh, that one's beautiful. So that one's a bit sharp. Is that one string I'm plucking? No, it is 2. So again, we're moving down to the 4th fret for the G to B. A bit sharp again, but not too much. So that's our B, and then our top E back to the 5th fret on the B string to sound an E. Let me just dump it out of tune so you can hear it again. You hear that? Let's see if it's worked. We're pretty close. This is bend it a little bit out of tune, some of those strings, but for the most part. So our E, our A, and our D. So there. Now that bottom E string might not actually be E, but it is in tune with itself. So when you haven't got a tune or anything to hand, at least you can do that. So now that the guitar's in tune, thankfully, you're pretty much ready to go back and get on with your practice again, doing those chords that we did, doing the single note tunes. And I guess one of the things to take away from this is just a reminder that that you've got note names, the A, B, C, D, E, F and G, and that they're all over the guitar, and that because it's not a linear instrument like a piano, it just goes one note per note, but this actually has multiple places you can play the same note. So that A there, as we saw, you can play it on the 5th fret of the E string. It's the same note, same with these other ones, and other other notes here and there are exactly the same. That so, for example, you can play most of the strings on this bottom, the notes of the strings on the bottom E string. You've got obviously the E string itself, that A there, the D string, the G string, the B string, and all right, it hasn't got the E string on it, the top E string. But just to show you that there's loads of places you can play the same notes on the guitar, but we're still only working with those A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and that's going to become more important knowing that as we go on. So remember, keep practicing those chords, see how you get them. We're going to look at some more chords next time, and those single note tunes, making sure your finger is nicely coming in from above the string, not poking in from the edge and touching all the other strings. It'll take some doing to get it, but you'll get there. Have fun. Well, that was lesson 4. I hope you enjoyed that and found a way for you to tune your guitar and make sure that it sounds just right for playing all your chords and stuff. If you want to look a bit more at playing chords and you missed out the last lesson, this video here will show you how to do some minor chords, E minor, A minor, D minor, I believe. And just look at the difference in sound between the major and minor chords. This next lesson here is looking at some more chords, surprise, surprise, but these are slightly more complicated chords because you've got a bigger stretch in your hand, and we're looking at the chords of C major, F major, and G major, and we'll talk a little bit about chord families, so enjoy that. Have a little click on there, just there.